Brittany here with day 57 of our 67 days towards our own at-home practice, and another really awesome day exploring balance. Today is our review of our whole entire week and all of the balance postures we learned and started to learn. Tomorrow we're going to continue to, in the rest of our program, we'll be exploring the art of balance, the yin and the yang sides of life and the yin and yang sides of our own internal practice. Before we do, we're going to go through all of our balance poses, because from here on out we're only going to be learning one new pose. So let's get started. Sliding the palms into the body, deep breaths in, complete breaths out. As we inhale, filling our belly, sitting up nice and tall, back on our tailbone. And as we exhale, gently letting out our breath, engaging our abdomen top to bottom to extinguish the last of the deep breaths in. Complete breaths out. Bring our hands to heart center. Today is our last day of Socha, or exploring our purity, our Yama Socha, the act of purity or cleanliness. And today I invite you to explore it by just going slow and steady and making the cleanest movements you can, making the most effective and efficient movements from one posture to another, which is so important when we're going through balance, especially in the beginning, because the littlest movement in the wrong direction can throw us off. So that's a nourishing intention, setting that intention now. If not any other intention, that'll keep your mind on your mat. Grounding the palms, sliding them back into the body. Nice deep belly breath in and out of the nose. Then going into our alternate nostril breathing, covering the right nostril, inhaling left, covering the left and exhaling right. Inhaling right, covering and exhaling left. Continuing this technique for just 2 more rounds. Balancing our mind, body, and soul, equally oxygenating both sides. 1 more breath on each side. Grounding the palm, returning to our belly breathing. Nadi Shodhana, our alternate nostril breathing, is an awesome practice for any time we're exploring balance. If you're having a hard time balancing, pause this video and sit down, put a minute on the clock, and just do a minute of alternate nostril breathing. You can do up to 3 minutes of alternate nostril breathing to start. A little bit more would just feel like too much. Really helps us find our center, find that part of us that's not too analytical and also not too attached to the world. Okay? So let's get started. We're going to get right on our feet and go right into our balancing. We won't have any warm-up today, so tune back to one of the other sessions if your body feels like it needs a bit of a warm-up. We are going to explore each of these postures individually with 9 breath holds on each side, starting off with our tree pose and just getting into balance. Finding our dristi, they call it in Sanskrit, is our point of focus. So finding a place that we can just gaze into, clearing our mind with deep breaths in, complete breaths out. If you want to be practicing balancing but your mind is really racing, I encourage you to use Ujjayi breathing, inhaling deeply through the nose, constricting the throat on exhale. Still deep breaths in, complete breaths out. And when we're ready, keeping our eyes centered on our point of focus, bringing our attention to our feet, spreading our toes nice and wide, coming onto the toes, and coming onto the heels, finding our center right in the middle. Coming onto the outside of our feet, and then the inside, coming back to center, grounding down, spreading our toes, gripping the mat with our toes, Then bring our attention up to our knees, not overextending our knees, not having them bent, right in the middle, shoulders centered, hips centered, palms facing forward. This is a really great starting point for our balance. Anytime you might be falling out of balance, bring yourself back here. Remember the center of your feet, your knees, that you're not putting too much tension and overextending them. That your hips, your butt isn't out, your pelvis isn't forward. You're centered, your shoulders centered. This is an easier place for us to balance from because we're in a nice steady alignment. When we're ready, bring our palms out to the side, creating space, a lot of surface area so that we find it easier to balance, and lifting our right heel off the mat. Keeping our focus on our point of focus. One more nice deep breath. Gently lifting our knee up, finding our balance here first. We do this because this is just a nice balance check. We're still really close into the body. We're not doing anything crazy. We're just learning how to find that focus we need in order to balance. Then we can bring our foot a little bit lower, even bring our toe to the ground if we're struggling to balance. Turning our knee out to the side. If our toe is on the ground, having it be very, very light so that we're not putting much weight on it. We're still learning our balance, but it gives us that comfort of being there. And then gently starting to slide our foot up when we're ready. If we're still on our calf and we have pretty good balance, we want to go further, we can use our palm to bring our foot inside our left groin. And when we're ready, hands to our heart. We'll take 6 nice deep breaths here because we've already been here for a while. Inhale, filling the belly. Exhale, let it all go, breathing into our point of focus. Exhale, release. 3 more deep breaths here. Clearing our mind, finding our center. Then bring our arms gently to the side, our knee forward, grounding our foot down. Spreading our toes nice and wide, finding our center, finding our comfort. When we're ready, lifting our left heel, shifting our weight onto our right foot. Gently gripping the mat with that right foot, finding your foundation, finding your ground. And then lifting up our knee, deep breath here, finding our balance. And then gently coming into our tree. Finding the place that suits us best. Hands to our heart, 9 deep breaths here. Ujjayi if many thoughts are on the mind. Doing our best to keep our mind clear. Focus on the here, focus on the now. Five more deep breaths here. If at any point you find that you're falling, that is fine. Regroup and come back into the posture. So that we can all come down together, reaching our arms out nice and wide, bringing our knee back into the body and gently grounding down. Awesome job, and that's our vrksasana or our tree pose. Doing this as many times as you like. In the beginning, holding it for 9 breaths can be hard, so don't worry too much if it's difficult for you. You're on the right track. The more you practice, the easier it'll become. Now going into our warrior 3. Making sure we have plenty of room in front of us and behind us. Spreading our toes nice and wide, finding our center, breathing into our point of focus. When we're ready, gently lifting our right heel, shifting the weight onto the left foot, and then lifting our knee. Bringing it down gently and out behind us, shifting our chest forward. And then gently reaching towards our point of focus, 9 deep breaths here. Keeping our attention on our breath, on our dristi. So letting go of the abdomen on inhale, engaging it on exhale. You'll notice even I'm wobbling here. It takes a lot to develop the strength in the legs. That's okay. We breathe through it. We learn how to use our toes to grip the mat, to feel our foundation. And when we're ready, arms back to the side, our feet gently come back in. Amazing job. That's a difficult posture. If you're really starting to feel the burn in the calves and the shins, bending one knee at a time, helping to release that. And when you're ready, coming back to our center. Breathing into our point of focus and gently lifting the left heel. Deep inhale, our knee comes up. And when we're ready, allowing it to come out behind us. Our arms reaching towards our point of focus. Deep breaths in. Complete breaths out. Finding our inner calm, our inner center. Four more nice deep breaths here. When we're ready, gently bring our arms back to the side, guiding our foot back to the mat. I almost lost that one. Sometimes your eyes just move 1 second and it changes everything up. Now we're going to go into our eagle pose. For our eagle pose, let's practice before we go in. When our left knee goes over our right, our left elbow goes into our right elbow. Our right hand goes into our left palm. It looks funny. If we want to do our arms correctly, this is how we do. Now for our feet, when our right knee is bent, our left knee goes over top of it. We're gently interlacing our foot behind. This is difficult. I struggle with it. So if you struggle too, that's okay. We can struggle together. Doing our best to interlace our foot, find our comfort. Let's get started. Finding our point of focus, 3 nice deep breaths. Center of our feet. Gentle knees, centered hips, centered shoulders, and allowing our right foot, our heel to come up, and then our knee. Gently bend into our left knee, putting our right leg over top, then gently bring our hands to our heart, interlacing, deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Just 5 more. Finding our calm, finding our center, allowing our hands to come right between the eyes, keeping our focus. When we're ready, gently releasing out to the side, standing up tall, and grounding our foot. This is where it starts to get a little bit difficult balancing and why the other 2 poses come first. For our eagle pose and our dancer pose, we start to move around, grabbing hold of our body and moving it in different ways, which is a little bit difficult to do when we're only on one of our limbs. So, if this feels a little bit more difficult, that's completely normal. Let go of any anxiety and worry about it. Just focus on the here and now. Spreading our toes nice and wide. Finding our center, and when we're ready, reaching our left heel up and off the mat. Our knee comes up. Gently bend into the right side, wrapping our left leg around. I messed up the arms last time, so I'm going to have to stay balanced and mess it up again. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Finding our calm, finding our center. Just 3 more breaths here. Then gently releasing, arms nice and wide, standing up tall and grounding our foot. Great job. This is not easy, and we don't normally in our practice explore so much balance in a row. So if your shins are burning, that is completely normal, and if you want to take a break, feeling free to, bending one knee at a time, focusing on your breath, breathing into the tension we're feeling, exhaling out all of our toxins. Deep breath in, complete breaths out. Now let's get to our dancer. Finding our point of focus, palms out in front of us. Center of our feet, gentle knees, centered hips, center shoulders. Inhaling our right heel up, shifting our weight onto our left foot. Getting our solid foundation, our right knee comes up. It gently comes back down as we grab hold of our right ankle. Our left arm comes in front of us. This is where we were at yesterday. For next steps, we begin to allow our body to come forward. As we do, we push through our ankle, reaching towards our point of focus, lifting our ankle up. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Keeping our hips centered and our eyes focused. One more nice deep breath here. And gracefully coming back into the body. This balance stuff is tricky even when you've done it a lot. So always cutting ourselves some slack. Spreading our feet nice and wide. Arms out nice and wide. Bending, breathing into any tension we're feeling. Ujjayi, if thoughts like to race. And finding our calm, finding our center for our last balance of the day. Lifting the left heel, shifting weight onto the right foot, finding our center, gently lifting our knee, finding our balance, and then allowing it to come down, grabbing hold of the left ankle with the left hand, right arm forward, allowing the chest to come forward, pressing through the ankle, gently lifting it up, deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Breathing into our point of focus, finding our balance. 3 more deep breaths here. Just 1 more. And then gracefully coming back into the body. You have earned your Savasana. Come on to our butts, knees out in front of us. Shoulders together in the front, coming onto our back, 1 vertebrae at a time. Before we go into our Savasana, let's do a nice body stretch. Palms together, lifting them up and overhead, ankles together, pointing the toes. Gently lifting through the fingers, engaging the shoulders together in the back, toes straight and pointed, flexing our entire body. Deep breaths in, complete breaths out. Just 2 more, right like this, engaging every muscle in the body. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release. Bring our palms back down to our hips. Going through a mental body scan, relieving ourselves of tension. Any areas we feel tense, gentle adjust, finding our comfort. Starting in our toes, going through the soles of our feet to our heels and our ankles, through our shins and our calves to our knees, the fronts and backs of our thighs, our hips, our lower back, through our belly to our chest, through our chest to our shoulders, making sure they're down, away from the ears, and free of tension, resting on the mat with our upper back. Going down our biceps, our triceps to our elbows and forearms, our wrists, palms, and all of our fingers. Lots of thoughts on the mind, grounding the palms, feeling the here and now beneath our fingertips, and bringing our attention back to our neck. Rocking it to the right, deep breath in. Exhaling to center. Rocking over to the left, deep breath in. Exhaling to center. Closing our eyes, returning our breath to our everyday normal breathing for the next 1 minute. We have nowhere to go and nowhere to be but right here and right now. Listening only to the sounds and feeling only the sensations in our immediate present. Our sole responsibility is to be here now. Excuse me. When we're ready, and only when we're ready, bring the attention back to the body, massaging the fingers and the toes amongst one another. Bring our hands together at heart center, one knee into the chest at a time, gently rocking over to our right side, coming into our sleeping baby, preparing our body for motion. And then gently pressing through the ground below us, coming back to our seat. Hands together at heart center, reflecting on the intention we set in the beginning of our practice. And only moments in which we met this intention. Ending our practice, bowing to one another, bowing to our beautiful bodies, and honoring the light within all of us, which is the same. Namaste. Bye. Thank you so much for another really awesome day. I'm really excited. If your shins or your calves are burning at all, spending a little bit of time in our Virabhadrasana on both sides to balance it out. Using our Ujjayi breath if one is a little bit more sore than the other, but spending the same time on each. Gently coming into our head to knee, focusing on keeping our toes up. Okay? So using everything we learned to keep us feeling comfortable. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.